We didn't have our normal, guest segment this week. We were busy. We were at North Wilkesboro Speedway practicing and qualifying and racing and hanging out with our Sundrop Chevrolet and having a lot of fun. But it was a great experience. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I'll say one thing. It was hot. So they repaved the infield of this racetrack with asphalt. I told them, I said, man, you guys gotta not repave it with asphalt. Don't do that. Let's put concrete down. Concrete does not radiate heat as much as asphalt. Like a brand new coat of asphalt on an 80-degree day, around your knees and your waist, it's about 90 because the heat radiating off the brand new asphalt. It was so hot down in that garage. All those haulers blocking any bit of wind that might be coming around. I was standing there at one point and I was like, man, it's got to be 90 degrees. And somebody showed me their phone. It was 79. And I was like, God, it feels miserable down here. It's so miserable. But that was, I'm complaining, right? Which I shouldn't be, because everything about being there was amazing. But the constant heat and humidity, especially on Tuesday, was really difficult. And it reminded me of, in the Cup Series, how pampered we are. We have motorhomes and big old 18-wheeler trailers, tractor trailers to climb in with air conditioners. And, man, we got cool suits when we're racing, and everything's about comfort. They even have the term driver comfort, right? How's driver comfort? Let's fix the car, make it more comfortable for you.
There's somebody whose role is driver comfort.
Yeah,
that's right.
And I was sitting there going, man, this is far removed from all of those things. But that's what's great about, I think, grassroots and late model stock racing is it's a throwback. It's getting back to those basics of showing up, unloading your car, and racing. And that's what everybody was doing, and that's what we were doing. We had a great time. We had good speed in practice, happy with the car, happy with the way the car handled. Real happy with qualifying, to be honest with you. Qualified 9th. We qualified a little better in August, but the field that we had this week, I say weekend, but the field that we had was way stronger. And in August, we definitely it's the car series. It's the Cars Tour series at both events in August and this Wednesday. But things are a little bit different about the car series this year. We got more competitors. It's just a thicker field, and I was pretty happy. We had a bunch of Cup guys show up. We had our national champion Lane Riggs there, and so there was some heavy hitters. So to qualify 9th, I was pretty happy with that. There was a really blistering lap for the pole by Butterbean, but otherwise, compared to the rest of the competition, we were just a 10th maybe out of the top 5. So we get the race started, and Butterbean's lap in qualifying was ridiculous. How fast it was. He ran in the teens, I think 0.2 faster than second. I ran a 53 and was 9th. He ran in the teens, I believe.
Oh, man.
It was fast. He was 0.4 quicker than me.
Yeah.
On a short track, 0.4 is bonkers.
He's lapping you in 30 laps or 40 laps, whatever that math is. But, So
it was insane.
Just to give us an idea of the competition,
I want to mention that because this is the guy that wins the race.
Absolutely.
So we get the race going, and I moved up to about 6th place, I guess, in 30 laps.
Yep.
Really happy with the car, driving it smart, driving it straight off the corner. At that racetrack, the tires are going to wear out really fast. They're going to get beat up. They're going to get used up. You got to be careful. We talk about this with Josh in our Wednesday show. So I think I'm doing a really, really smart job with the tires, but I do recognize that we're all racing much harder than we were in August. And I'm assuming, hey, I know some guys in the back half of the field are taking it much easier than we are. If you qualify toward the back half of the field, you have that luxury of just kind of cruising around and waiting on things to play out. You're not going to work really hard and abuse your car driving up through the field, that's going to do you no favors late in the race. So, but if you're starting in the front half of the field, you kind of have to work hard to keep that track position. You certainly don't want to give it up. So
it was racy. It was absolutely racy from the start.
That's right. And that's what's great about, I think, late model stock racing and a track like North Wilkesboro, where you have to manage the tires, but you have so many people on varying strategies in terms of how they're driving their car. And so we're moving up. We're doing well. Car's driving great. I feel like I'm relatively competitive compared to the competition I'm around. And they have what they call controlled cautions. So we don't have live pit stops. We are not going to have live pit stops. We're not going to force our teams to bring in tire changers and stuff like that to have to pay these crews to make these quick stops. So we have controlled cautions, which means when the caution comes out, you have the choice of coming down and either putting fuel in or changing tires. There's only 2 right side tires that you can put on the car during the race at any point, right? So that's your choice when you want to do that, but you only have 2 tires to put on. It's a 125 lap race. So you cannot fuel and change tires at the same time. That's a safety protocol. You don't want, we don't have the traditional, filler necks that you see on an Xfinity or a Cup car. We fill our cars up with a funnel and a jug. And so to have a very safe and controlled environment for fueling, if you want to fuel, we have a controlled caution, which means when the caution comes out, they'll let you know it's a controlled yellow. You can come down and fuel the car or put the tires on, and you won't lose your position, right? So everybody that comes down pit road will leave pit road in the same order.
Right.
Right. So take your time, do everything right, no rush, be safe. That's kind of the way it goes.
But to be clear, if anybody stays out, which they did, obviously
they take the track position.
They take that track position.
That's right.
You don't restart where you came in at, right?
Well, so the fuel was a question whether we really needed it or not. Some guys opted to not do that, not come in for fuel. That actually was a really good strategy. But we came down, filled up on that first stop. We come back out, and we're about 12th now.
That's right.
We came in 6th, now we're 12th. And we have a choose rule, so I can start inside or outside, whatever I want to do. I think the inside was probably absolutely the preferred line, but if you're going to gain a couple rows, you might as well jump on the outside and give it a shot. But anyways, we restarted on the outside. Up ahead of me, the 8 car, our teammate Carson, had some contact with another car, and everybody checked up. I got a little nose damage. I got hit from behind.
This was a big wreck, though. Yeah, you had nose damage.
Yeah, I had some nose damage, and then I got hit from behind, and then there was a massive wreck behind me.
That's right.
Right, and at red flag, and a lot of good cars got taken out in that, unfortunately. A lot of cars got damaged, and we were one of them. The center of the splitter, or the bumper cover, or whatever you want to call it there, was raised up off the ground relatively, a few inches, and it made the car really tight. So, long story short, we contemplated coming down pit road to repair it. Josh thought it was definitely going to be a problem, but once we got back to going, we had another yellow that was quickie yellows. We try to have these quickie yellows when there's not a controlled caution, which they wanted to throw a controlled caution in a 125 lap race every probably 30, 60, and 90. Mm-hmm. So you're going to have 3 controlled cautions. Every other caution is going to be a quickie yellow. Bam, bam. Caution's out. Let's get it fixed. Let's get everything cleaned up on the track. Get back to green. So there's not a lot of time to come down pit road and repair damage. So we stayed out on the racetrack. We get going again. Now I recognize we've got a bad aero issue. The car's really tight in the throttle. Can't roll the center very well. We're still maintaining decent around the cars we're competing with. We didn't really lose a ton of track position. We're not bleeding out, dropping like a rock. But that balance issue forced me to kind of drive the car differently, and it ended up burning the rear tires off of it trying to make it turn. And racing way harder with that aero issue, I raced harder than the cars around me. Like everybody else is sort of still running about 90 or 80%, saving a little tire for the end of the race. I'm running 100% to maintain where I'm at. And I burnt the right rear and the left rear tire clean off. Around lap 90, we have our third controlled caution. This is when we want to come down pit road and take our tires. Other teams have already done this.
That's right.
So some people chose to take their tires around halfway when we had our second controlled caution, around lap 65. That was a great strategy. And so when we came to get our tires at lap 90, we thought, okay, we're going to get some right side tires. We fixed the nose. We're happy about that. We finally get the damage repaired for the aero issue. But now I've got a very, very worn out left rear tire. We swapped the left side tires, put the worn out tire on the left front. We get back to racing. We made some adjustments as well in the car a little bit, but we get back to racing and we're just really tight. Couldn't really, still the balance of the car is not very good. I probably beat the left side tires up a lot more than a lot of the guys, and it that kind of showed in the result at the end of the day. I got to race with a lot of people, which was fun. Got to beat and bang a little bit. Got some donuts on the right side.
Connor Jones in particular. You and Connor Jones had races with about everybody.
Yeah,
that 44. You and him, that's where I was like, oh man, I'm thinking about you burning up tires for your conversation from Wednesday, and you and him are just banging.
Connor is a young kid that's been in our series a while, and he's racing supers as well. You'll see him maybe in some truck races, and so Connor was really aggressively trying to he got put on the outside, got moved up the racetrack by somebody. He's on the outside line. Everybody, it's like feast or famine. When you see a car up on the outside line, everybody's trying to get by that car, and you're in you try to get in a train or a Congo line right on the inside and say, hey man, I'm not letting you in front of me. I'm going to pass you like the guy in front of me. And
That's
then
right.
the guy behind me is thinking the same thing. So we get to Connor. He's fading on the outside, trying to find a way to get low. He's pretty aggressively doing that and made a lot of contact with the cars in front of me. And so we get down into turn one. I've got the aero tight issue. We get down into turn one. I'm on the inside of Connor, and I knew that the only way I could kind of get by him was to lean on him a little bit in the middle of the corner. So I gassed it up pretty hard in the center, doored him a little bit, but I wasn't going to fence him on exit. And we get off the corner, and he just laid it into me, man, all the way down the back straightaway. He's just turning into the door of my car, and I expected a little bit of that, but it was a little bit more than I thought he was going to do. But he was frustrated. I get the frustration in the moment, but it was he was aggressive, and we raced around each other later. I was he got to me late in the race, and didn't run over us, and he was we're gonna race him again one day, right? You gotta kind of put those things in the back of your mind, and we try to race everybody clean, but in the late model stocks, you can lean on each other a little bit. That's to be expected somewhat. Me and a couple other cars had some really aggressive, good, fun battles. Get out after the race and shake hands and laugh about it. So, anyways,
Go back. I interrupted you. Go back to the way you ended the race. Obviously, you weren't able to be aggressive.
I think I used up my car. I'd used up my tires and lost a few spots to some cars that were really fast, and lost a few spots to some cars that I probably shouldn't have lost spots to. But as Harvick ended up doing really well. I was pretty happy about that. They showed up and they were struggling in practice, and they made a bunch of gains on their car and ended up with a reasonable finish. I think me and Harvick drank a few beers after the race, and just good to see him enjoy his first run in a late model stock car with Rodney Childers, who built the car for him. Brad had a reasonable finish after some contact in that big wreck.
Yeah.
And I was happy about that. I liked the fact that our Cup guys that came to join us left happy. I got a text from Biscoe about how much fun he had.
And he did fantastic.
He did. He was not fast in practice. He looked, you don't know what tires everybody's on. You don't show up and just, run stickers. Everybody can't just buy all the practice tires they want. So sometimes you'll see guys and they're on 100, 150 lap tires out there trying to practice. And so you can't really gauge on, how well they're doing. but he didn't qualify well. He didn't practice well. But once they got their track position, they kept it.
They stayed out. They were one of the few cars that stayed out on that first controlled caution.
They didn't come for fuel.
They didn't come for fuel. I don't think he ever left the top 5, really.
That was really smart, good strategy, and he drove a great race. Suarez, I saw him out there and raced him hard a few times. And Chastain, I took a picture. He ran into the left rear quarter panel late in the race. And we were, texting all week about the cars and practice, and we saw each other in practice a little bit on the racetrack and talking about how our cars were driving. And after the race, I took a picture of my quarter panel and sent it to him. I said, I got Chastained. I was like, man, it's so funny because I'm like, as a broadcaster and a fan or somebody that's excited about storylines and drama and good things going on in our sport, I'm excited about Chastain and what might happen next, right?
He's on your list.
You get out on the racetrack with him, it's a different story, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh my goodness. He's
towards the end of the race, he was right behind you, by the way. I mean, he also really improved during the course of that race, and there you guys are, and I'm trying to pay attention to that. But you guys did have a great race, but that's funny that you texting that picture. That's a nice little story.
Well, we it wasn't the best result, but I kind of know why that happened, and still I really enjoy driving in those races, and whether you're battling for 5th or 15th, it's so much fun, and the competitors, they don't get out and grumble or, certainly they would, certainly there's arguments and disagreements, but every time I've raced all the competitors, every time I race them, for the most part, we get out and have a conversation and a beer or a few laughs, and that's what I think. It's when I raced late model stock cars in the 90s, I was young and worried and terrified that I wasn't going to make it, and didn't enjoy that as much as I should have. It was an incredible time in my life that I miss, and so it's so fun to be able to come back and touch on that a little bit. And that's what it was for me.
Hey, if you like that video, like and comment below, and don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss another piece of Dirty Mo Media content.